This sign means A. Side road. B. Low clearance. C. Merging traffic. D. Prepare to stop. A. Side road. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers to be aware of potential traffic entering from an upcoming side road. If an emergency vehicle with flashing lights is traveling in the area where you are driving, you should A. Speed up to avoid the emergency vehicle. B. Stop your vehicle immediately and prevent them from passing. C. Make every effort to give the emergency vehicle a clear path of travel. D. Signal to the emergency vehicle when it is clear for them to pass you. C. Make every effort to give the emergency vehicle a clear path of travel. If an emergency vehicle with flashing lights is traveling in the area where you are driving, you must make every effort to give them a clear path of travel. If it is safe to do so, pull your vehicle to the side of the road to give the emergency vehicle an open pathway. Traffic signs and pavement markings. A. Must always be obeyed. B. Are merely suggestions. C. Must be followed only when there is other traffic. D. Must be followed only when a police officer is present. A. Must always be obeyed. Traffic flow is controlled by pavement markings, traffic islands, signals, and signs. These devices inform drivers of conditions on the roadway and help guide drivers safely to their destinations. You must always obey traffic signs, signals, and pavement markings. Alcohol. A. Slows reflexes and reaction time. B. Puts you to sleep. C. Wakes you up. D. Improves your judgment. A. Slows reflexes and reaction time. Alcohol is a depressant drug that slows the activity of the brain and reduces the skills that you need for safe driving. Drinking alcohol results in slowed reaction time and impaired judgment.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
You are coming to a railroad crossing where the crossing signals are flashing. You should A. Stop and look for a train. B. Slow down and look for a train. C. Look for a train, then speed up. D. Do what the vehicle ahead of you does. A. Stop and look for a train. When approaching a railroad crossing, you must stop your vehicle no closer than 15 feet from the nearest rail if an installed electric or mechanical signal is giving warning of an approaching train. Be aware of other warning signs that may indicate an oncoming train, including seeing a lowered crossing gate or hearing an oncoming train. If another car is in danger of hitting you, you should A. Sound your horn. B. Wave your arms. C. Use your emergency lights. D. Flash your headlights. A. Sound your horn. Your horn should be used to warn other drivers or pedestrians in situations where they may not see you. For example, if you think another driver is about to hit you, you should sound your horn. Traffic signals sometimes display arrows to control turns from specific lanes. A green arrow A is used only on one-way streets. B has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic must turn in the direction indicated by the arrow. C means that you may proceed, but only if the green arrow is accompanied by a circular green light. D. Points the way to an airport. B. Has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic must turn in the direction indicated by the arrow. A green arrow has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic in the indicated lane must turn in the direction shown by the arrow. Lanes of traffic moving in the same direction are divided by, fill in the blank, lines. A. Yellow. B. White. C. Red. D. Black. B. White. Solid white lines are used to separate lanes traveling in the same direction, as well as to mark the right edge of the road. Broken white lines separate lanes traveling in the same direction and may be crossed to pass. Yellow lines separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. This sign means A. Pedestrians only. B. Intersection ahead. C. Hiking trails ahead. D. School crossing ahead. D. School crossing ahead. This sign indicates that a school crossing is ahead. If your wheels drop off the pavement and onto the shoulder of the road, you should A. Brake hard and turn sharply back onto the pavement. B. Stop your car on the edge of the road. C. Slow down and very carefully turn back onto the pavement. D. Maintain your speed and turn sharply back onto the pavement. C. Slow down and very carefully turn back onto the pavement. If your wheels drop off the pavement and onto a low shoulder, you should reduce your speed without braking and very carefully turn back onto the pavement. Be aware of any nearby traffic when re-entering the road. This sign means A. Watch for people working on or near the roadway. B. The road ends ahead. C. Expect a traffic signal ahead. D. Yield the right of way. A. Watch for people working on or near the roadway. This sign warns of the presence of workers on or near the roadway. Use extra caution when driving in work zones. The sign with this shape and color is a fill in the blank sign. A. No passing zone. B. Wrong way. C. Railroad crossing. D. Stop. A. No passing zone. Pennant-shaped warning signs like this are only used to indicate a no passing zone. On a sidewalk or in a crosswalk, bicyclists should ride slowly and A. Don't need to give an audible signal before passing any pedestrian. B. Yield the right of way to any pedestrian. C. Take the right of way without yielding to pedestrians. D. Don't need to do everything possible to avoid colliding with a pedestrian. B. Yield the right of way to any pedestrian. Bicyclists may choose to ride on a sidewalk, unless prohibited by a local agency. Bicyclists must yield to pedestrians on sidewalks or in crosswalks. When exiting a highway, you should slow down. A. On the main road, just before the exit lane. B. Once you see a toll booth. C. Once you have moved into the exit lane. D. When you first see the exit sign. C. Once you have moved into the exit lane. When exiting a highway, you should get into the exit lane well in advance. Do not begin to slow down until after you have moved into the exit lane. A red and white triangular sign at an intersection means A. Slow down if an emergency vehicle is approaching. B. Look both ways as you cross the intersection. C. Always come to a full stop at the intersection. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. A triangular red and white yield sign means that you must decrease speed as you approach an intersection and yield the right of way to any vehicles or pedestrians in the intersection. You must be prepared to stop if conditions require it. When driving past a vehicle that has just stopped in a parked position on the side of the road, you should A. Assume that the driver will open the car door as you approach. B. Speed up. C. Slam on your brakes. D. Assume that the driver will wait for you to pass before opening the door. A. Assume that the driver will open the car door as you approach. When passing a vehicle that has just parked parallel to the road, you should assume the driver will open the door as you approach. Use extra caution when driving near parked vehicles. By law, your vehicle's headlights must be turned on from A. 1 hour after sunset until 1 hour before sunrise. B. 1 hour before sunset until 1 hour after sunrise. C. 30 minutes after sunset until 30 minutes before sunrise. D. 30 minutes before sunset until 30 minutes after sunrise. C. 30 minutes after sunset until 30 minutes before sunrise. By law, your vehicle's headlights must be turned on from a half hour after sunset until a half hour before sunrise. When driving at high speeds, always allow enough room to safely stop in emergencies by staying at least A. 1 second behind the vehicle in front of you. B. 4 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. C. 2 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. D. 10 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. B. 4 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. If you are driving at a speed of 30 miles per hour or slower, a following time of 2 or 3 seconds may be enough to stop safely in the case of an emergency. However, at higher speeds, it is best to maintain a 4-second following time. A bicyclist who doesn't obey traffic laws? A. Is in the right because bicyclists don't have to obey traffic laws. B. Can be ticketed. C. Will always receive a warning from law enforcement. D. Will have their bicycle impounded. B. Can be ticketed. All bicyclists have the same rights, duties, and responsibilities as drivers of motor vehicles. Motorists and bicyclists who do not obey traffic laws can be ticketed. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Divided highway ends. C. Two-way traffic. D. Keep left. B. Divided highway ends. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign indicates that the divided highway is about to end. When in a travel lane on the roadway. A. You may stop to drop off passengers. B. You may stop to look up an address. C. You may make a U-turn or back up if you get on the wrong entrance ramp of the freeway. D. Don't stop for any reason. Keep moving until you can safely pull off the road. D. Don't stop for any reason. Keep moving until you can safely pull off the road. You should not stop in a travel lane for any reason. Instead, keep moving until you can safely pull off of the road. If you miss your turn or exit, do not back up. Go to the next turn or exit or where you can safely turn around. The driver's left arm and hand are extended downward. This hand signal means that the driver plans to A. Turn left. B. Turn right. C. Stop. D. Start up. C. Stop. If a driver's left arm and hand are extended downward, they are indicating that they intend to stop. Adjust your driving accordingly if following a driver who is using this hand signal. When driving at night, slow down and A. Use high beams whenever there are no oncoming vehicles. B. Use sunglasses to reduce glare from headlights. C. Use your high beams if it is also raining. D. Use your dome light to help you see your speedometer. A. Use high beams whenever there are no oncoming vehicles. By law, your vehicle's headlights must be turned on from a half hour after sunset until a half hour before sunrise. You should use your high beams whenever there are no oncoming vehicles. Lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions are divided by fill in the blank lines. A. White. B. Red. C. Black. D. Yellow. D. Yellow. Yellow lines are used to divide traffic moving in opposite directions. At a school crossing sign, you should A. Always stop, whether there's a stop sign or not. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. C. Always sound your horn when you see children. D. Be ready to help children crossing the street. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. You must always yield to pedestrians who are in or about to enter a crosswalk. Be alert to pedestrians when driving across intersections or turning.